It's the Thursday Morning House Call with Dr. Lane Aiena. Brought to you by Huntsville Memorial Hospital.
Hey, good morning. Big Len here with you in studio with me. My good friend, Dr. Lane Aiena. Good morning, Dr. Lane.
Good morning. How you doing today?
Hey, dude, I tell you what. The weekend's upon us.
It's here, and boy, and are me and Missy and the kiddos ready?
I bet you are. You are.
Hoping
Okay.
for nice weather.
So what are we talking about today? Again, going into this episode completely blind.
Yeah, I kind of like it that way. We get some cold reactions from Glenn. Maybe that could be some upcoming themes.
Right.
Cold reactions from Big Glenn Edwards. So with school being out next week, and I'm sure the kiddos are pumped, the ones especially that are listening now, I thought I'd talk about summertime injuries because that's a big one and coming up, especially for the kiddos. They're wild and crazy, and they have more time to go be injured now that they're out playing. So let's talk about some of those and how we can prevent them. The first one that I thought about while I was gazing into my backyard is our trampoline. Now, we have a trampoline. It does have a big safety net on it with bars on it. That does not mitigate all risk for injury, but it does go a long way because, man, I will see Connor particularly, he's one of my twins, just fly into the safety net. And I thank God every time that net is there because that kid gets bounced right into it and it is sturdy. And I do safety checks on that net, not infrequently. Now, that does not mean that you can't watch them. You really need somebody out there to keep the horseplay at a reasonable level. You're technically supposed to have one kid on the trampoline at a time. Let's keep it real for a second. That's impossible if you have more than one kid in the backyard. But just be reasonable. You don't need a crowd up there. You need to make sure they understand that trampolines are dangerous. They can hurt themselves if they horseplay too hard. And the best way to do that is having an adult out there keeping an eye on things and saying, okay, that's something you probably shouldn't do. Because kids, they're not thinking about injuries. They're thinking about how much fun they're going to have, right? Well, adult men aren't thinking about injuries. They're thinking about how much fun they can have. Think about kids, right? So anyway, watch the trampolines. The next one is heat and dehydration. We're coming in the summertime. It's about to start getting hot, and kiddos, they don't care, man. They don't know what dehydration is. They're going to run until their little engines stop. So it's kind of up to us adults to make sure they're drinking water or, something with electrolytes in it, the Pedialyte, something that will help rehydrate them and something that will help them from getting too hot. You go take those breaks, sit in the shade, maybe find a pool or something that you can be safe in. I'll use that as a good segue in a second. Spoilers. But, dehydration and overheating, we think of it as grown-ups that are outside working and trying to get that job done. It can happen to kids too, and it can be just as dangerous. Speaking of pools, how's that for a segue? Very, very dangerous and probably the most dangerous thing on this list. Pools, lakes, ponds. Folks, I talk about it every year, and I'll keep talking about it every year because it is, I believe, the number one cause of accidental death under 5. I believe that's the statistic, and it is so preventable. If you have a pool, you need a fence around it, full stop, period. You need a safety fence around it. Kids, Bobby, for example, he is a great swimmer already. He's 3, and I'm so proud of him and Connor, how good they're doing with their swimming. He was jumping in from the side and swimming to me like he had 100 times before. This is just a few weeks ago. And he jumped in, and for some reason, he panicked. And his head popped up, and he started screaming, "Daddy, help, Daddy, help." I don't know what changed that time. I don't know what threw his rhythm off, but I jumped in the pool, grabbed him, told him, "Good job. You found an adult. You said help." But that's a great example. If somebody had asked me about Bobby and Connor, I'm not ready for them to be outside by themselves, but I said, yeah, they can swim. Folks, kids have got to be really, really, really old before you can confidently say you don't need a pool fence. And then you got to think about other kids. Your kids' friends can't all swim too. So remember, flotation devices are not drowning proof. So, the life jackets and stuff, there is no excuse to have kids unsupervised. Also, if you have a party this summer and you have a pool, you need to assign an adult. Their job is to watch the kids, because when it's everybody's job, it's nobody's job. So somebody has to have lifeguard duty while the kids are in the pool. So folks, that's the most important one of the episode. I got a few more, but I wanted to make sure that one's up there. For the older kids, golf carts, four-wheelers, side-by-sides. Folks, I see these injuries every year. Yes, they're usually in drunken adult males. But kids, unfortunately, we have these tragic accidents every once in a while where kids are out four-wheeling, mudding, etc. My kids aren't going to do it. I don't want to set rules for your family, but my kids aren't going to do it. I remember injuries back when I was in school with other kids. It is so remarkably dangerous. I'm not saying kids can't be on four-wheelers. I was on a four-wheeler as far back as I can remember at the deer lease with Dad, but we were also very strict on safety. So you got to be real cautious with those things. They are rife with injury risk. And then finally, burns. I know it's hot, but we're all having our grills going, our fire pits are going, our smoker pits are going. You got to teach the kids. When mommy or daddy are around this cooking or there's a fire, you cannot touch it. Inevitably, they will bump their arm against it, and that's how they're going to learn. But you need to make sure that they are burn safe. So folks, there are some summer tips. I'm hoping that the summer this year is going to be a great one for all of you, and we all have a great one, but let's keep it a healthy one for us and the kiddos so that we can have the most fun possible.
Wow, great advice from Dr. Aiena. This week's edition of the Thursday Morning House Call brought to you by Huntsville Memorial Hospital.
Let's keep Huntsville healthy.